Hey Lakeside family, Lydia here, just popping in to say hi to everybody and let you know how much I miss seeing you all. And if any of my blast friends are watching, hi to you guys too. I miss singing with you and saying hey in the hallways and watching the Bible stories with you too. So sure do miss you all. I sure look forward to the day when we are going to be able to get back together, and I'm definitely looking forward to giving and receiving some really big hugs because I sure do miss those. So I was thinking about other things that I have been missing during this time of quarantine and what I'm looking forward to when we get back. And for instance, I miss getting my hair cut, as you can see, in dire need of a haircut. So, very much looking forward to getting that done and also getting some new curls in. They're not natural, it's a perm. I also miss hiking in the national parks. Some of you know that I really like hiking, and I've been happy that the state of Michigan has kept most of their state parks open and recreational areas. And been a little bit of a challenge to hike because all the amenities are closed. So that's been a bit of a challenge, but I look forward to national parks reopening and hopefully in the fall getting back to doing some longer hikes in the national parks. But, and if you know me, this is no surprise to you, what I miss the most and what I am most looking forward to is spending time with my grandkids, otherwise known as the Captain's Adorable. For those of you who don't know them, that's them. I'm happy that we've been able to do video chats, and I've been doing porch drops usually when they're asleep, so dropping stuff off on their porch, things to play with, activities to do, treats, those kind of things. But there's really nothing like just being right with them, and those of you who have kids or even grandkids know that. It's just not the same thing. It's just a different level of joy that you have when you can actually be right there with them. So I miss that a lot. I really appreciated Mike's sermon a couple weeks ago focusing on prayer, and right around the same time I was reading a book by author and speaker Sheila Walsh called Praying Women. And if you were able to get a hold of that book, it's a really good book, I would recommend it. But something that she mentioned made me think about prayer in a different way. Usually when we pray, we think about what should I say, how should I pray, what should I ask for, those kind of things. But I was challenged to think about prayer from God's perspective, and specifically about the joy and the delight that God finds in spending time with us. So think back to the Garden of Eden, and God, the creator of the universe, had just got done creating everything in the universe and the universe itself, and he could have been doing anything that he wanted to do, spending his time any way he wanted. And what was he doing? He came and he was walking in the garden with Adam. And after the fall happened, even throughout the Old Testament, there was barriers, but God made ways that he could be in connection with his people, whether it was his presence in the tabernacle or in the temple. And obviously the most important one was the coming of Jesus, Emmanuel, God with us. So even though we physically don't have God present with us today, physically, that we can see, God invites us to come into his presence through prayer, not just to present our to-do list for him, although that's important, presenting our needs and our wants, but he wants us to spend time building our relationship with him, just talking and listening like any other relationship. Think about the stories in Luke 15 of the lost sheep and the lost coin and the lost son, and how the shepherd and the woman and the father were all so happy. It says they rejoiced when they found the things that had been lost. And part of that was because they had retrieved what was lost, but the joy continued on. It wasn't a one-time thing. There's a verse in the Old Testament book of Zephaniah which talks about God being with his people in a future day, but it gives us a glimpse of how God feels about being with us, being with his people. It says, "In that day he will take great delight in you. He will quiet you with love. He will rejoice over you with singing." So you may remember that Mike quoted Sheila Walsh, and in part the quote says, "We have made prayer far too complicated. Prayer is simply talking with and listening to the one who is crazy in love with you." And then the quote goes on to say, "If you live to be 100, you will never meet anyone who loves you the way Jesus does. If you had the best dad in the whole world, he can't hold a candle to your Father in heaven, who longs to hear from you. God longs for our presence." So I want to let you know that I'm praying for you, especially those of you whose names come across the prayer chain, and those of you whose names are listed in the daily prayer list for the COVID related situations. And I know many, many others are praying for you too. But most of all, I just want to encourage everyone in these days when we're so much looking forward to resuming our interactions with others, those interactions that just bring us so much joy. Remember that God our Father is just as eagerly waiting for and longing for our interactions with Him. Yes, to bring Him our requests and our needs, but also just to hang out with Him, the one who loves us way more than we love our family, our friends, or even our grandkids. So I'm so looking forward to seeing you all soon, and love to all of you from the Collard family.